Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to you? Please confirm if I'm audible and my PPT is visible or not. I would request the team to please display the PPT as well. Yes. So, how many of you attended the exam this time? Yes. Can I see with a raise of hands? And why are you here today? Why are you here today? How did your exams go? Do you think you have a chance of clearing the exam? So, my question is, why are you here today? Yes. Anyone there or not? Come on, show yourself. Yes, in the live chat, everyone. Can I have a present from everyone who is watching? So, see, what I am guessing is that you have appeared for the exam, last exam, and somehow you were not satisfied with what you have done and how your exams went well. So, probably you were in some of these situations. So, with a show of hands, let me know if any one of you have been in these situations. You were all geared up for CSI preparation, but gradually realized that study topics are getting piled up, because of which you ended in confusion. Okay? All right, no problem, Pranita. So, this is going to be very useful for you. I can guarantee that this next 1 hour, as the important details which generally students will miss out before starting the preparation, we all will be giving that to you today. Whoever are the speakers, and if you miss out on these preparation details, then something goes wrong, and throughout your preparations don't end up well. Okay, and that has an effect on the exam as well, right? So if you have been in the situation where you found that the study topics were getting piled up and ended in confusion, that is because there was a haphazard way of preparation. You didn't plan well. There was clearly a lack of planning, right? Or you made a proper schedule, followed it for 1 2 months, but it was too difficult to be in routine further. So that's why you lost touch with the studies gradually. Then what is the case in this scenario? Because you did not have a proper schedule or a timetable made. See, any timetable doesn't suit you. You have to customize your timetable according to your timings and what you can donate for your studies, isn't it? Was highly determined for CSI exam preparation, because of which you studied day and night also, but then during the exam hall you went blank, fared extremely bad in spite of studying. So that's a very sad situation. I would not want any of our students to be in that, but unfortunately many students face this. What is the reason? Lack of revision. You go blank and you completely lose everything in your mind. You cannot even think a simple thing like cell cycle also, like G1 S, G2 M. Some people will even forget that. You completely go blank. That is because of lack of revision. You have been preparing for the CSIR exam with self preparation, but with no luck or success. Every time the questions seem to be different and twisted. I'm pretty sure many of you will face this one, right? So we had many of our students saying that yes, some of the questions, because they were well prepared, they knew what was the type of questions that will come. So that's what you need to know, right? That CSR exam will be tough. You be prepared for it. It's not unachievable. It's just that you need to be prepared for the type of questions that CSR has. Do follow up with Biotecnika, because Biotecnika will be telling you a lot of ways to identify which questions to select during the exam. That's a very important trick, especially when you're trying to clear this competitive exams, right? So you do not attend all the questions, especially CSIR. Only the questions that has less chance of negative marking, you should go for those questions, right? So first you have to know your exam. CSR UGC NET will be coming in sequence one by one. So in the next one, we'll be talking about time management and how to plan your schedule. As I said, everyone should have a customized timetable for yourself, right? And the last one, we are going to tell you which all resources you should use for the proper preparation, right? We are going to give you some guidelines. So stay tuned till the end, because every little detail matters when it comes to clearing your next exam, upcoming exam. So first, you would know that CSIR NET is a national eligibility test for certain subject areas falling under the Faculty of Science and Technology. And why will you clear this exam? Some people will think that I might get PhD by applying separately for with some personal contacts to some guides or mentors in the institutes, renowned institutes. And some people might also think that we don't need CSI these days. But my dear students, you're mistaken. You might be confusing it along with some UGC norms that has been out for since the past 1 year. But remember, this CSIR is still a must in all of the renowned institutes. If you take any of the renowned institutes, the top institutes, they will ask you for CSIR qualification before taking in for the interview also. Their interview application process only itself has this mandatory requirement of that whether you have cleared CSIR exam or not. Okay, and not only that, you are getting junior research fellowship with a scholarship. Don't forget that, right? So these days it's very difficult to devote 3 to 4 years of your career in getting a PhD, and you know how important PhD will be in if you are pursuing a research career. There is a lot of future in research these days, especially when it comes to the field of life science. It's a highly growing field, and that's why you should know the importance of earning while doing PhD. Okay, so that's what CSIR will give you. It'll give you a stipend monthly. You will be getting stipend, and a good one, right? And also lecturership. Even if you have crossed the age of GRF, if you don't want to do PhD but still you want to apply for renowned institutes, lecturership also has good career prospects, and the pay is also fairly good. So you can also apply for lecturership as well. For that also they will demand the CSIR NET qualification. Now, coming to the details, the mode of exam is a paper pattern, CBT, computer-based test. So you should be familiarized with the mode of exam, how it displays on the screen. You have to read on the screen. So all these small details will be very important. So what you need to do is you need to practice the test. The mock exam should also be in the same format, right? It should be a computer-based test so that suddenly when you go for the main exam, it shouldn't be a surprise for you. Single paper MCQ based test. Yes, all the questions are MCQ. No numerical questions like gate, and no multiple select also. All of them have just one correct answer. Now, the exam earlier it was in June and in December, but nowadays they have changed it February and September. Mostly we are seeing the pattern. Even this one also was almost till the end of February, so 1st of March. Validity, once you clear CSIR exam, it will remain valid for 2 years from the date of the result announcement. So before that, you can apply to any of the institutes. You appear for interview, you clear the interview, and you that's it, your career of PhD journey begins immediately. Age limit, yes, for JRF 28 plus 5 for general unreserved category, but if you have a reserved category and female category, then the relaxation is there for 5 years, otherwise it is 28 years. Okay, no upper age limit for LS. Doesn't matter, you just have to clear the exam. So here is the eligibility criteria. Many people will be asking me if they can apply for CSIR after qualifying BTech or B Pharma or MBBS. So earlier there was no provision for bachelors, but now they have introduced at least for this BSMS, all the 4 years integrated degree with at least 55% marks they will allow. And also, yes, final year of these, even MSc also. 5% marks relaxation is again given to candidates who belong to the reserved category. Okay. Now, coming to the exam structure, how many total sections are there in your syllabus? You're going for a war, so you should know what elements are there in the war so that you can fight well, right? So, total sections means total units. There will be total 13 units, which are from all subjects. You're appearing for life science exam. So, that's why the subjects also will be based on life science only. Total marks will be 200, and the paper pattern will be a single paper MCQ based test, as I told before, and there will be total 145 questions. Okay, total 3 sections will be there: part A, part B, part C, and including all the 3 sections, you will be getting total of 145 questions. Duration of the exam will be 3 hours, no sectional time limit. Within the 3 hours, you have to complete all these 3 sections, however you wish to do. And this is the best part: candidates get choice in answering the questions, right? So even if you have so many questions, you think you have to attend so many? Absolutely not. You have to just attend some 75 questions out of 145. You imagine almost half you have to attend, right? So you get a choice, and that's where CSR even if the questions are tough, but overall it doesn't look like a tough exam. So as I said, is CSIR a tough exam? So the paper breakup is three parts, as I said, ABC. Part A consists of general aptitude with emphasis on logical reasoning, graphical analysis, basically your ability, your aptitude, quantitative comparison, series, puzzles, anything, any diagrammatic puzzle can also be there. Part B and Part C are subject based. But what is the difference between them? Part B are all fact based questions. You don't have to think much. There is no experimental thought included. It's just some memory based questions, direct, straightforward questions, a small detail based question. So that's what is Part B. You know it, you answer it. If you don't know it, there is no way you can guess to get the correct marks. Part C, it is most of analytical and conceptual. So this is where is the most challenging part of CSIR, which you should need proper preparation for it. You will need proper preparation. Without that, with your degree, current degree, that is your MSc, BSc, it will be little difficult to clear at least this part. Maybe part B you will still manage, but then again the syllabus is very different. It is unlike your regular subjects. It covers a lot more detailed topics. Now the question paper structure, part A, it has total of 20 marks. Remember I said total 145 questions are there. So we have part B, in that 50 mark questions are there. Part C has 75 questions and total number of questions is 145. Okay. Now from here, the part A questions are and part B questions, they are of 2 marks, whereas the part C questions, they are of 4 marks. Now how many questions do you really need to attend from here? So the marks distribution is, from part A, you have to attend 15 questions out of those 20. So each one of them have 2 marks. If you get correct, then you'll get 30 marks. Part B, you are getting total of 50 questions, out of which you have to attend 35 questions only. And again, 2 marks of each. So you'll get total of 70 marks. Part C has total of 75 questions, and here is the best part. Even if part C are the most complex type of questions, you get almost one third the amount you have to attend, 25 questions out of 75, and each one of them, if you get it correct, 4 marks, that will be totaling of 100 marks. Okay, so together you need to get 200 marks. That's the paper is for 200 marks you need to get. And in order to clear the JRF in unreserved category, you should target somewhere around 130 marks. Okay, that is somewhere around 65% you target. Definitely you will get the JRF in that case. Okay, now coming to the syllabus, as I said, there are total 13 units. First unit is molecules and interactions relevant to biology. This is nothing but biochem. Basically the biomolecules, macromolecules, proteins, amino acids, carbohydrates, vitamins, lipids, etc., nucleic acids, and also how they're interacting, means the chemical bond, their stability, structure, function, denaturation, all that is unit 1. Unit 2, cellular organization, cell biology, the organelles, cell cycle, microbiology, and even virus structure, microorganism structure. So this will be entire organization, even the transport, cellular transport molecules. Unit 3 is fundamental process, mainly this is small bio, and the central dogma, replication, transcription, translation, and even the operon concept, and specifically the gene regulation concept, will be part of unit 3. Unit 4 is again cell communication and cell signaling, which is consisting of these, definitely the cell addition part and communication signaling part. And then we have the cancer, which is also a part of unit 4. And then we have immunology as well, and some of the host parasite interactions. Unit 5 is development biology, both plants and animals, but animals is most, 80% is animals and 20% is for plant development. So anyone from botany or zoology background, they should target this one. Unit 6, system physiology, all about plant physiology, photosynthesis, hormones, phytochrome, cryptochrome, all that, transport system. Unit 7, entirely of animal physiology, all the systems that you have, endocrinology, nervous system, muscular system, digestive system, all that is part of animal physiology. Unit 8, basically genetics, inheritance biology, all Mendelian laws, gene mapping, pedigree analysis, inheritance biology, and all those concepts of mutations and what happens. Unit 9, diversity of life forms, the taxonomy, phylogenetic or evolutionary relationships, and especially the naming part, you should be knowing about it. What are the classifications of the organisms? Unit 10, ecological principles, community ecology, population ecology, all ecosystems, different types of ecosystems, and all the different principles included. Unit 1, Unit 11, evolution and behavior. So we have Hardy-Weinberg. Population genetics is also involved here, and evolutionary, the behavior of organisms. A lot of questions come on that, how they behave, what are their calls, and what are their observations. Unit 12 is applied biology, whether you're talking about stem cell mechanism or transgenic mechanism or plant tissue culture, agrobacterium mediated gene transfer, those all will come under applied biology. Unit 13 is methods in biology, which are mostly the techniques. Okay, so all biochem based techniques, immunology based techniques, everything will come here, even the microscopic techniques, calculation, little bit of biostatistics, slight bit of bioinformatics. So that's all. As you can see, it is all inclusive. But do you really have to study all of this? So which units do you have to select? Now you will question me that, ma'am, do we have to study all of this, right? So which unit to select? There are some fundamental units which you should try not to skip, and those are unit 1, 2, 3, and 4, except immunology, that you can skip, and unit 8. Don't miss on genetics. Why I'm telling fundamental unit? Because the concept of these units will be used up in the next units as well. Okay, so that will really help you to understand whichever other unit you're preparing. If you belong to biotech, biochem, or microbio background, okay, if you're a student of these background, then additionally you can prepare for any 2 to 3 units from either of these. So these are your choices, as I said, applied biology or techniques or ecology. These you will find if you're from this background. If you're from apart from the fundamental units, if you're a zoology student, then additionally you can prepare any 2 3 units from any of these. So as you can see, animal physiology is included, taxonomy is included, evolution, ecology, probably you would have already studied this as part of your course. Botany students, you can select unit 6, so definitely you should select that, and even unit 9 also, and 12 also, because lot of applied plant concepts are there in unit 12 as well. Apart from the 10, 11, any 2 to 3 units you can select from these units. Okay, so what are the scoring units in life science for CSIR NET, especially in the part C? So what type of units you should select if you want to attend the questions properly? So units which have more straightforward questions. By straightforward, I don't tell it's simple, but at least they will not be twisted, and with a genuine preparation, with a more or less okay preparation, you will be able to attend those. So these units generally feature more theory based questions which are less focused on experimental and analytical application. For example, if you take unit 3, molecular biology, how the process works. Okay, so many part C questions will be framed on that. Unit 4, the cellular communication, then cellular signaling. So what are the signal name, ligand name? So those theory based questions may be asked. The pattern may be different in a graph based or diagram based, but at least the concept will be based on theory. You don't have to apply the knowledge much. Unit 10 and unit 11 also, because ecology, evolution, again direct straightforward questions. Okay, but there are some units which have some predictable question pattern. I am not saying the questions are necessarily easier, but these units often have questions coming from specific subtopics, making them more predictable for preparation. So you know that, okay, if you're talking about unit 2, then definitely question will be there from cell cycle, especially the checkpoint part. Unit 5 also, you definitely know there will be some question on limb development or limb regeneration. So these unit 8, there will be some pedigree analysis. Unit 13, some techniques on this PTI, fMRI, some concepts, and even this protein sequencing, protein analysis. Some questions will definitely be there. Every time, almost every time, you'll have a question from these units. Okay. Now prepare for the common units. This is also something which you should know, which will lower your burden. Let's say you're preparing unit 1J, which is carbohydrate metabolism, and unit 6, plant physiology A and B, photosynthesis and respiration. These two are linked, so why not prepare them together? Unit 1BG, which is biomolecules, and unit 13 AC, because if you study the biomolecules, then immediately studying the unit 13 techniques will become very easy for you. Unit 1B protein function, and then 7C respiratory system, especially the hemoglobin, myoglobin part, how it gets acclimatized in the respiratory system. So that again is related. Unit 4B and C, cell signaling and communication, definitely you should study with Unit 5, because development biology means cells interacting with each other, and this is how they are related. 4E immunology and 13B immunotechniques. You study the process behind the immunology, and then you study the techniques after that. Unit 2C gene organization. If you have to know that gene organization, then only understand the genetics part, and then only in 11E population genetics. So if you study this in a sequence and in a proper way, then it's called proper planning, right? Unit 11D molecular evolution, unit 9A, which is taxonomy, then biogeography and conservation biology, they go together, and unit D natural history, and F, which is organism conservation, right? Now, how many units to prepare from the syllabus? Minimum 8 units, because you have to attend, don't forget, from the part B you have to attend 35 questions out of 50 and 25 questions out of 75 from part C. So for getting 55 questions common in the entire syllabus, in the entire question paper, at least 8 units should be prepared properly without leaving any subparts. If you are preparing more units, then you can leave one topic or two in between. But if you are preparing less units, then you should prepare everything that is included in it. Okay. So this, looking at the last exam, July 2024, the total questions per unit, as you can see, unit 1, unit 13, more or less they have more number of questions. Unit 6 also, unit 7 also. So basically this is kind of a misconception that there is some units will have more weightage, because at least there will be equal weightage for the 10 units. 10 units will have equal weightage, like some 9 questions, 8 to 10 questions you will get, including part B, part C. Some can be exceptions in few of the exams, like unit 9 you can see only 5% questions were there, and surprisingly in unit 2 for this morning session there were less number of questions, right? Unit 12 here has more, 7%. But if you look in the evening session, unit 12 was again less, right? Unit 3 here in the evening has less. So that depends on the question paper setter also. We can't really predict on that. And since you're writing life science, so don't worry, whatever units you're preparing, you will get common questions from that. Okay, so just select on the ways I mentioned to you. So unit wise overall difficulty level, if you see for the morning session, again morning sessions, as we have observed, are generally little bit easier as compared to the afternoon sessions or evening sessions. Okay, so most of them, the part C, you will see that it is difficult. Most of the part C questions in unit in the evening session, even for this exam also it was the same case. So which are the more important units whose frequently asked and higher weightage? 1, 3, 4 and 6, based on even unit 8 inheritance biology. These are based on the observations which we have seen before, and even the methods in biology, unit 13, as I just showed you the pie charts based on that. The moderately important units, as I said, predictable, but it requires focus and memory. So that is unit 2, unit 5, unit 10 and unit 11. You have to remember some concepts. For example, the conservation park names, right? Evolutionary, what are the behaviors in organisms? You have to remember those things. And even applied biology, some processes, how a certain technique is done. So these things you'll have to remember. And the less important units, somewhat lower weightage, but still some relevant questions might be there. One is system physiology, that is animal physiology, and diversity of life forms. Okay, so maybe you can ignore these two if you are not well prepared for the other units, right? So remember the SMART approach, overcoming common CSIR net pitfalls. You have to identify the mistakes what you have done in the previous exam. If you might have misinterpreted the core concepts, that means you are not understanding the concepts well. And that's why how can you answer a question if you are not knowing the concept well, right? You are confusing the similar terms. So for that it means you did not plan your preparation, you did not study the things together, or you did not understand the context, so that's why you have confused similar terms, or some critical details you have overlooked. That means in a question what you have to see in order to answer the question, a lot of practice needs to be done. So that's why you need the right resources, and you have to rectify your mistakes. You have to enhance the preparation where you apply the 3D learning method, that is visual, keywords, and conceptual understanding. You read by looking at the diagram, you read by looking at the word, what the diagram means, and also the concept understanding of the entire process. And most importantly, you should know practice question handling, right? Break down the question step by step, part by part. You have to read it and tackle the lengthy questions efficiently within a limited time. Again, some guide or mentor should be there who will help you with these solving the questions and show you the right way of approaching a particular question. Recently we have done the question discussion. You can see the recording, it is there on our YouTube channel. It will be very helpful for you to understand how to handle the CSIR questions. These are your common reference books, recommended book list. Yes, immunology, Lodish, Leninger, Genes 11, Carp, Evolution, Plant Physiology, Tays and Ziegler. These books will definitely enhance your preparation. Book knowledge is always the best knowledge. But yes, if you take some help in your preparation, then these books, things only we can help you learn in a shorter amount of time. So later you can have a look at the different units I have given. What are the different books for under each unit? You can have a look. And I have just given one book. We have an article also regarding Biotecnika's recommended book list. You can check it out in our website. So collect the right material, comprehensive coverage, which will have the structured study material covering all 13 subunits. Conceptual clarity should be there. Visual learning tools like flowcharts and concept wheels, if you look at it, then that confusion between similar terms and going blank in the exam will not happen. Curated strategies from top educators, video lectures, e-learning platforms, and online coaching. Every day, when you are persistent in this, you will be amazed how much your preparation has been done by the time your next exam comes. Quick revisions, flashcards, concise revisers, and capsule courses, they help you retain and recollect the concept during the exam. And not forgetting practice resources, as I said, according to the CBT mode, you should get comprehensive test series, question banks, and mock tests. So that is going to give you a 360-degree preparation. Okay. So that's all from my end. Thank you, everyone. I hand over the controls to Dr. Nupur ma'am, who will tell you regarding the time management. Thanks again.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Do let me know if I'm audible. Can you see the presentation? All right. Yes, so welcome everybody to CSIR NET Kickstarter 2025, and I'm Dr. Nupur Nagvekar, and already you have covered CSIR NET syllabus, exam pattern, and other details as mentioned by Urmi ma'am. So we are right now going to talk about smart planning strategies for preparation of this exam, and also some pointers about time management. All right. Now, whether you are preparing for CSIR NET or any other exam like GATE, ICAR, DVT, any other exam, if you're going to prepare a smart study plan, there are three aspects that you need to remember. You need to incorporate these three factors in your structure for the study plan. One is obviously the conceptual understanding part, right? Conceptual understanding means you have a concept in front of you. It's a topic, a subtopic of a main subject, and you need to understand it in detail. For example, in photosynthesis we have light reactions, dark reactions, photorespiration, C3, C4. So these are the various concepts you need to understand. That is conceptual understanding. Now many students have absolutely no problem with this. if they are serious about the exam, they'll allocate sufficient time for conceptual understanding. Now, where they do fall behind is revision and practice. Many students do not provide sufficient time. They do not incorporate or allocate sufficient time for revision and practice, and that is where they take a beating, right? You have to, absolutely have to, give sufficient time for revision. You have understood a concept, you need time to revise. Very frequent revisions and multiple revisions of the same topic. Not just revision once or twice, multiple revisions of that concept to help you to remember it till the time your exam is there. And of course, for lifetime also, not just till the time of the exam, but for the future use also. Practice what exactly? Practicing questions, mock test questions, previous year questions, aim nets, aim gates, all other mock tests, basically previous year questions, whatever is available to you, you have to practice it. Be it part A, part B, or part C, you need sufficient practice for those questions. Now, ideally, the duration of 6 months is sufficient for a student to prepare for CSIR NET exam. Okay, it's not too much, also, it's not too less, also. If you do have a time period of 6 months for your exam, then again, ideally, the daily study time should be between 5 to 6 hours. Ideally. I'm stressing on the word ideally over here because I know that many of you are going to be students. Many of you probably are working, you're on a job or something. That, can you provide 5 to 6 hours to prepare for CSIR net? It's not hard and fast, but this is an ideal number of hours. If you cannot do that, then you have to adjust it as per your schedule. Let's say you have, I don't know, 9 to 3 is your college hours, then you have to adjust those 5 or 6 hours maybe before or after your college hours, even for job for that same matter, right? So 5 to 6 hours ideally should be given if you have, if you are looking at a timeline of 6 months for the preparation of CSIR net exam. Also, now that you've decided that you want to give this exam, you've decided seriously that you're going to study, you have to set realistic study goals. Okay, it cannot be ludicrous. For example, let's say you have just 2 months time left. You wasted the initial couple of months, only 2 months are remaining, and you decide, now I'm going to study all 9 units, all conceptual understanding, everything I'm going to cover in just a span of 2 months. That's kind of a far-fetched goal, right? You know yourself better than anybody. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. You have to set realistic study goals. If you do not do this, if you do not set realistic study goals, you're setting yourself up for a big disappointment. Okay, so don't do that. Understand your strengths, weaknesses. Don't over or underestimate yourself. Just set realistic study goals. Right now, how to start? Urmimala has already given you a head start on this. So how do you start? First thing you do is you sit with the CSIR net syllabus. Sit with it, go through it, read through it properly, and identify about 8 to 9 units. Okay, now, like Urmimala said, 8 is minimum, 9 is good enough. More than that is, yes, you will be at an advantage. Okay, anything more than 9 is not bad. You will be at an advantage as compared to other good students, right? But if again you're short of time, you do not have that much bandwidth, then you can stick to about 8 to 9 units. You identify them based on your major and minor subjects that you've studied in your bachelor's, master's, your strengths, your interests. Basically, if there's a topic that you want to further conduct research on, then those are your units that you need to identify. You divide them into important and less important units, and of course you have to start with the important units. Okay, for example, a person, maybe a person from biotech background, probably would choose unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. As Urmi ma'am said, these are non-negotiable. Okay, barring immunology from unit 4, but if you keep that aside, then unit 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 are non-negotiable. You have to take these units into consideration because they form the very fundamental basics of all other units. So you can't really skip these 4. But apart from that, as Urmimala also said, that there are these other units from which you can choose based on your stronghold topics, based on your major and minor subjects that you studied previously. Okay, so probably 5 developmental biology, 8 inheritance, 10 ecology, 12 applied biology, and 13 methods in biology. Probably this is something a biotech student would use. Maybe botany individual can take unit 6 into consideration, and diversity of life into consideration. Maybe animal physiology can be considered by zoology students, right? So accordingly you choose your units, and remember 1 to 4 is non-negotiable. Now once you have done this, the very first thing you do is sit with the syllabus, identify your 8 to 9 stronghold units. Now you have to basically create a study table. Okay, a timetable basically. A timetable, it could be a daily timetable, a weekly timetable, as well as a monthly timetable, which will span for 6 months, because that's your target, right? You're planning for 6 months. So what I have shown over here is like a framework. It need not be exactly that you're supposed to follow, but it's just to give you an idea of how you can design your day. You start with exercise and meditation. It always need not be like a high intensity exercise or something. It could be a simple yoga, meditation, breathing exercises. So but you need to incorporate this at some point in your day. Okay, because remember you're running this race. It's for a longer duration, right? It's not just 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's 6 months. You need to be on track for those 6 months, so this is important. All right. Then, ideally, you can take 2 units per day. Maybe in the morning, you can study 1 unit. Now, this is conceptual. Study new topics, theory. Theory plus notes, that's conceptual understanding. So, 1 unit conceptual understanding. Let's say you start with unit 1. So, unit 1, atoms, molecules, and all that biochemistry part, you take it in the morning. Okay. Then, about about 10 to 12 you can solve mcqs, previous year questions, part c questions. After lunch 2 to 4 you can keep this time for revision. Sometimes you can take this new unit also in this time, but after lunch you get a little lazy, you get a little sleepy, so you can keep revision during this time. In the evening, maybe after a cup of tea or coffee or a little walk, you can start another unit. Maybe with unit 1 you can club unit 6 or unit 7, so any other unit that you would prefer, but ideally 2 units in a day is good enough. So here again, this is conceptual. 7 to 8:30, this is revision. You can see with the help of flashcards, diagrams, formulae, quick revision of all these earlier topics that you studied in the day. And lastly, towards the end, relaxation, hobby, or light revision. Notice that time periods have been given, breaks have been given in between, right? And those breaks are very important. You have to incorporate in your that in your timetable. The length can vary. It's completely up to you. No hard and fast rule that you have to study for 1.5 or 2 hours. It's completely up to you. If your time span allows 30 minutes, you sit for 30 minutes, but it has to be focused. If your time span allows 1 hour, then sit for 1 hour. 2 hours, it's completely up to you, but make sure that the time you're sitting has to be completely focused study. So you can start with 2 units per day, and if possible, if your capabilities permit that, then you can extend it up to 3 units also in a day if possible. All right, if not, you can stick to 2 units. For some people, it's just 1 unit per day. They are comfortable studying just 1 unit continuously. That's also okay, but try to see if you can start with 2 units per day. Now if the time period is too much for you, like 1.5 or 2 hours is too much for you to sit continuously at a single stretch, then go for the 50-10 rule. These are all basically variants of the Pomodoro technique. So there is 50-10, there is 25-5, right? So 50 minutes of continuous study, 10 minutes of break. 25 minutes of continuous study, 5 minutes of break, right? And if you do three such cycles, so three such cycles of 25 5 25 5 25 5, after the third one, take a big break of about 30 minutes or 1 hour or something like that, right? So break it down into smaller time periods of focused study if you are not able to sit continuously for 1.5 to 2 hours. Now, this is a sample planner provided by Biotecnika. Okay, now you can see that it's been given for a single day also, and we've literally given you the topics that need to be covered, right? So this is for one single day. You have for every day of the week. Then, in fact, we have given what to do on Sunday also. And then the planner continues. So this is a sample planner. It's a guide that you can use from Biotecnika. It's not hard and fast. If you follow this, well and good. If you stick to this, you will complete your targets basically before 6 months. That includes everything. Notice that we have allotted 2 hours for conceptual understanding. There are breaks in between, right? There are breaks in between, and you have time for revision also, revision, and practice questions, right? So every day this timetable can be followed. Once your target is achieved, you can tick that. Basically, it's a tracker. So whether you are on track or not, that can be checked. So this planner is provided from Biotecnika. Like I said, you do not need to stick to this 100%. A little bit here and there is possible. You can change it, you can adjust it as per your convenience, right? Now, one one thing, like this is decades of scientific study, that reward systems always work. Okay, what do you mean by rewards system? You achieve a certain goal, you achieve a certain target, and you reward yourself for it. Okay, may seem a little bit ridiculous at first, but trust me, it works. Now, for example, here again, this is a framework. You don't need to exactly follow this, because we are giving this to you. But think of this like a framework that you can use. For example, at the end of the first month, you have completed your targets. You decided you want to do complete one unit 1, 2, and 13. You completed it. You've revised it. You've solved previous year questions and MCQs. Maybe you can treat yourself to a movie. That's a reward for you. I'm not saying you reward yourself every month. You can do it every weekend also. A small reward, maybe Sunday evening. If you've achieved all your targets, maybe Sunday evening you can go out with your friends for coffee or dinner. You can go watch a movie, you can go to the spa or something, right? So just make sure that you're rewarding yourself for all the goals and deadlines that you achieve. That helps you stick to it. It could be a weekly reward system, it could be a monthly reward system, it could be 3 months or 6 months reward system, maybe a big reward system. Just, I don't know, you wanted that smartwatch, go buy that smartwatch at the end of 6 months, right? But reward systems have been proven to help you keep on track, to help you reach your goal. Now, key tips: test yourself every week. As it was mentioned in the planner itself, just conceptual understanding is not enough. Those who do conceptual reading but do not revise and practice, they are the ones who fall behind. So don't just read. You have to solve questions also very frequently, very regularly. Use rewards as motivation. Small achievements keep the momentum strong. It'll help you keep on track. Take relaxation seriously. You noticed in the planner there were breaks mentioned, the daily planner and the weekly, monthly planner. Take those breaks very seriously. Today you decide, oh, I'm going to sit very seriously for the exam. I'm going to study very seriously. I'm going to give 3, 4, 5 hours continuously. Next day you are going to be burnt out. And if you're going to burn out at any point of this time in this long journey of 6 months, you are going to break your schedule. Okay, the further targets will be hard to achieve. So mental breaks improve memory retention. Take your breaks, relaxation breaks, seriously. Stick to deadlines, otherwise you will have last minute stress. Maintain a study tracker, and you can mark those completed topics. All right, now, you've made many plans in your life. Have they always been successful? Have all the plans gone according to your wish or way? No, right? Plans don't always go according to your plans, right? Whatever strategy you've made, you'll not always stick to it. What to do in that case? You've made a plan here. There's a good chance that you will not stick to it. There could be many reasons where you may fall behind, right? What to do then? Don't sit and cry. Don't give up. You just pivot. You change your strategy, you change your direction. Let's say 2 months are left, you have only covered 6 units, 2 to 3 more units you need to study, but 2 months is short of a time because you need to revise and you need to practice also. Give away 1 unit, sacrifice that 1 unit. Okay, just keep a target of 7 or 8. That's okay. Do not compromise your revision time. Absolutely not. Do not compromise your revision time and practice time for conceptual understanding. All right. So pivot, change direction, but without compromising revision and practice. Now, mastering time management using technology. We live in strange times today. We have technological tools that are waiting to take our focus away from our the work that are doing, right, that we are doing. But there are also tools available to us that can help us bring our focus to the work that we are doing. All right, and in our case it is studying for the CSIR net exam. Have you heard of Parkinson's law? Parkinson's law says that the work expands to fill the time available for its completion. It's very simple. Let's say I ask you to study C4 and CAM pathway in a time span of 2 hours. And I say that 2 hours is the deadline, you have to study it in 2 hours. What you will do? You'll try to study it. Okay, let's, even if you don't understand it completely, maybe you'll have some doubts here and there, but you'll put all efforts from your side to study that concept in a span of 2 hours. If I say that you have a week's time to study C4 and CAM pathway, what will you do? You will take a week's time to study C4 and CAM. It's true for you, it's true for me, it's basically true for everybody. Majority of the times that is the case, right? So work is expanding itself to whatever time is allotted to it. So how do you overcome Parkinson's law? One is set shorter deadlines. You know that C4 and CAM can be studied in a time span of 2 hours. You dedicate only 2 hours. Don't keep a time more than that, right? So Biotecnika's coaching helps you with that. We allocate certain time for it. You know that you have to study it in this period. You do study it in this period. You will not give 1 week or 2 weeks time to study a very small concept. So that is called as time blocking, setting shorter deadlines for a certain to study a certain concept or to revise also. Okay, so whatever task is there, you allot a certain time to it. Make sure that's a small timeline, not a big one. Break big tasks into smaller ones. Okay, so instead of saying that I will study respiration in a span of 3 days. Okay, now that's not your goal. Don't keep that as your target or your goal. I'll study respiration in a span of 3 days. What you do is you break it down. Glycolysis and fermentation today, Krebs cycle, TCA cycle second day, oxidative phosphorylation third day, right? So you've broken down that very big task into smaller fragments and you've allotted specific small timelines for it. So that is how you overcome Parkinson's law. Next one is 80-20 rule, which is also called as the Pareto principle, which says that 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. Okay, well, now what does that mean? Let me give an example. For example, there is a unit, you're short of time, you cannot study that entire unit in detail. Okay, you just have 2 weeks left maybe to complete entire unit 6. What you do? Will you not sleep and then give those hours of your sleep to study completely entire unit 6? No. What you will do is you'll select the important topics. For example, photosynthesis. You cannot skip photosynthesis from unit 6 at all. It's a very important topic. Every year, give or take, you'll have at least have 2 questions from photosynthesis. So you know that studying photosynthesis is basically putting in 80%, 20% of the efforts, from which you can get 80% of the results. So you plan accordingly that minimum efforts are going to give maximum output, right? Third technique, Pomodoro technique. Like I said, 50-10 rule or 25-5 rule. That means you, again, this is a version of time blocking only, where 50 minutes you have to give focus study. 25 minutes you have to give focus study, then 10 or 5 minutes respectively you can take a break. And lastly, and this one I find very interesting, is third party accountability. What it means is you publicly announce your study targets. I'm not saying put up a billboard, okay, in front of your society or something. No, you can announce it in your friends, among your friends. You can announce it in your family. You can say mention it in your family WhatsApp group or friends WhatsApp group or college WhatsApp group, something like that. You announce that this week or maybe today I'm going to study this, and this week I'm going to cover this much portion. What does that do? That holds you accountable. You have made a public commitment. So somewhere in your subconscious mind, you will remember, it'll nag you, oh, no, I've said this publicly, I need to do this. So you will be held accountable, and in a way it's a good way to basically overcome the Parkinson's law. Make sure you're on track. Okay. Now lastly, these are some productivity tech tools. They are for different things. There are time management, task management, focus, distraction blockers. For example, now one thing I want to mention, all of them are not free basically. You'll have a basic version. The free version will only provide the basic features, which is okay. Like you can use those basic. You really don't need to pay up to get the paid version with the very high tech this thing. For you it's not needed, right? So for task and time management, there is Notion Trello. Basically they are for taking notes. Okay, you can organize, you can plan, you can take notes. So Notion and Trello are for that. Google Keep is mainly a to-do list, so it'll keep sending you reminders. You can make your to-do list on Google Keep, and it'll keep sending you reminders. Google Calendar also for the same purpose. Now, for focus and time management, we have Pomodoro. Like it's based on the Pomodoro technique. So again, 50, 10, 25, 5. It'll basically set a timer, and you're supposed to sit. And when that timer rings for at the end of 50 minutes, you can get up, maybe 10 minutes break, and then at the end there'll be a big 30-minute break. Forest app is also very interesting. The longer you stay away from your phone, the longer you stay away from those addicting apps, you can actually grow a virtual tree. Okay, it kind of sounds silly right now, but you can try it out. It gets interesting later on. Stay focused, cold turkey, these are apps which will put a hard stop to all those social media apps. Okay, be it YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, but they'll put a hard stop to it. Minimalist phone app is something I personally use. So it changes the user interface of your phone, mainly for Android only. So changes the user interface. You will not see all those distracting basically phone icons. Only it will not be there on your phone. Okay, so it makes it difficult for you to distract yourself from the work. Now, Google Scholar, you already know, mainly for research purpose. And Speechify is also interesting. That's a text to speech. Okay, so let's say you have a soft copy of some notes are there, soft copy. You can put it in Speechify. It'll give it as a speech, an audio file, and you can actually listen to it. So maybe when you're traveling or something in a bus, train, you can listen to those notes. So Speechify is another interesting tech tool that you can use. Okay, so keep this in mind. I'm not saying now go and download all of them. No, but see which ones you are in need of, and you can download those and use those in the free version also. So lastly, remember, the pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. Okay, put in the hard work today, you will regret it much less later on. Otherwise, you're going to regret it much more later on. All right, so that's all what it means. Yes, thank you so much for your attention. And now Somrhita ma'am will take over. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Good evening, everyone. Please confirm if I'm audible and if my screen is visible to all of you. Okay, so that was a very insightful information given by Urmi ma'am and Nupur ma'am. So by this time, you have all understood what all to study, how to plan your the entire work for your next 6 months preparation. So now I will almost like summarize this thing, and more importantly, I will tell you some effective study techniques for you to follow. that will help you to understand the topic better. It will help you to revise the topic better, because as ma'am has already mentioned, the students, they complete their studying part, okay, but what they lack behind is in the revision. So that is very, very important, okay. So let's start this session. So some of the powerful study methods to maximize your retention capability, just learning or understanding the concept is not everything. You have to retain the concept, and you have to again recall it when it needs. Okay, now what happens here is, you just imagine this as if piling the books. Okay, so the one which you have studied at the first goes down below, and then comes the second one, then on top of that comes the third one, and the one which you have studied recently is the one which is most it is there in your memory right now. So if you try to recollect, you will recollect the one which you have studied recently more faster than the one that you have studied long time back. Okay, now if that happens, then obviously it will take a lot of time to answer your questions, right? So your revision strategy has to be in such a way that no matter which topic you try to recollect, you will be able to recollect it instantly. Okay, because that is what is needed in your exam. If you look at the CSIR exam, particularly, I mean, the exam paper, particularly the part C questions, you will see that there are many concepts which are connected. So they have like given you a question which is having concept from, say, unit 2 and unit 3 combined. Okay, so at just solving one question, for that you need to recollect two different units. So you can understand that if you take time to recollect one topic, then automatically you're losing time solving the questions, right? So it has to be a very well recollection, and for that you have to retain your information, and you have to practice. Okay, so we'll mainly talk about the distributive practice active recall methods 50-30-20 rule, which is a very good rule to follow. Then I will tell you the role of flowcharts, mind maps, and comparative tables, and also the importance of taking notes and quick revisions. Many a times students ask me that, ma'am, is it important to take notes in the class? And I say that yes, definitely take some running notes. Okay, I will come to that, why I say it's important, and definitely the previous year test questions. So first and foremost, what do I mean by distributive practice or spaced repetition? As ma'am has already mentioned, when she has shown that timetable of a day, she has mentioned there are breaks in between, right? This is very, very important. When you study a topic for a very long time, you tend to become very tired. Your mind becomes very tired. Okay. Now, if your mind becomes very tired, then it becomes very difficult to retain. You might think that, yes, I'm studying, but actually, no, these informations are not registering in your mind. All right. Your mind is following, but it is not registering. Now, just following the topic is not important. Registering the topic, registering the concept is what is important, because that is what is going to help you in the future. Okay, so that is why don't stress out yourself. There's no point to stress out. Okay, in fact, take small breaks. Break up the study session into small, small sections. Don't think that taking break is a waste of time. It is not. It is important for your brain. Okay, it helps in more productivity. Okay, so instead of almost like cramming the 6 hour session, breaking into 1 hour sessions over a week. All right, so you can follow some study schedule where say you can break your study in the week's time. Okay, so what you can do is you can have your first review that you do, say you do it just immediately after learning. Okay, it is an immediate reviewing that you do, or recollection you can say, or revision you can say. Like how? Maybe in the morning you have studied, say, cell cycle. Okay, in the morning you have studied cell cycle, you have finished that chapter. And now in the evening, when you're taking up the second topic, before you take up the second topic, you allot some 15 minutes to 20 minutes time to recollect what you have studied in your cell cycle. Okay, that you can do. Now, wherever you see that, okay, I'm getting stuck, just open your book or the note and look into those sections. That is done. Now, that is not the end. Second review also you have to do. When you do the second review, say after a day, okay, after one day. So next day you can do it, or after one day you can do it. Again, you try to recollect the cell cycle. Okay, this particular topic. Again, you don't have to give a lot of time for this. 15-20 minutes is enough, right? Jot down whatever you can recollect. All right, whichever point you're having a doubt, open the book and just go through it. Like that way you can go for a third review. Okay, the third review can be after 3 days. You can go for the fourth review, okay, after a week, right? And then the fifth review, and you will see after the fifth review, you have mastered that particular topic. You will definitely do it. Okay. So, like this way, when you are making your timetable, do give time for revision as well. Okay. And when you're revising, like giving your time for revision, set the topic which you will be revising. That is very, very important. Next, you can follow the 50-30-20 rule. Now, what is this? This is actually based on the priority. So, how much priority you're going to give? So, 50% means you're going to give 50% priority to the very difficult task. Okay, so allot your 50% time. Okay, whatever time schedule you have, say 8 hours or 10 hours, okay, 50% of your time, allot that for the high priority task. Okay, so focus on most challenging and important study materials. That can include some problem solving. Okay, and when you are focusing means not just studying, again, not just reading the book, not just reading the topic, it also includes your, you know, active recollection. All right, recall. You can make notes, some running notes, or maybe some, diagrams. All right, you can practice some tests, but it has to be the ones which are very difficult, okay, which needs a lot of deep learning and critical thinking. So give 50% of your time for these kinds of topic. And here I would like to add, it's always best to allot these high priority topics or the most difficult topics, okay, at the most productive hours of your day. So for some students, maybe the early morning is the most productive when your mind is absolutely free. So allot 50% of the time or for these tasks in the early morning hours. For others, it might be the late night. Okay, so sit with these difficult topics late night when you are most productive. So that varies from person to person. So you decide when is your time. Okay, and which are your difficult topics, which are at the higher priority topics. Okay, next, allot 30% of your time for your medium priority task. Okay, here again what you do is you give more emphasis on revision and reinforcement. So maybe you have studied, say, genetics is very difficult for you. Okay, so you have picked up a topic from genetics and you have studied that. Okay, you have solved the questions, or you have tried to solve those questions. You have now understood the topic. Okay, now what you do is, again, take up with this you take up this topic later again. Okay, and as I was telling you, revise. So you take up this topic again and again, rethink or revise what you have understood from that topic. Okay, try one more question if necessary, try one more question. Okay, you can go for group discussion also on that topic, or what you can do is you can look up any animations, because that is also a kind of revision. Revision doesn't mean that you have to always sit with the book or your notes, not necessary. You can look up animations, you can look up you can go for any group discussions. All right, you can like teach someone if you have the possibility. That is also kind of revision. All right, go through the presentations. Fine, that is your 30%, and then you have the 20% which is allotted for your low priority task. So here mostly you go for the passive learning and organization. So this is mainly allotted for the light study activities which which needs some little contribution for learning. Okay, so maybe it is like just going through the notes, just an eyelash of the notes, or maybe organizing the study materials, and listening to some interesting podcast or something where related to that topic. Okay, or some videos related to that topic. Okay, the low priority ones. This way also you can divide your study time. Now, when I say active recall, okay, I've constantly highlighted this part, that active recall is a very, very important part for your revision. Okay, so what you can do is self testing. So, how do you do that? Very simple. After you have read the chapter, close your book and write down whatever comes to your mind. Whatever comes to your mind. Okay, point one, point two, point three, point four, just jot it down and see if you are able to cover all the points. And when you're writing the points, okay, think about the explanation as well. Mind it, when I'm saying write down the points, I don't mean write the entire explanation. No, that explanation has to be in your mind. Okay, you just have to write the point. So maybe when you're studying about cell cycling, you say the first point is what is happening in your G1 phase, or say what is the how is your G1 checkpoint gets activated, how it is controlled. Okay, so you write the points here. Whatever points comes to your mind, just the point, the words. Okay, it need not be in full sentence, not necessary, just the words. Because the moment you get the words, all right, and particularly if you can write it in order, then automatically it will form a sentence in your subconscious mind. Fine, that is called self-testing. Second, you can use flashcards for your revision purpose. So flashcards, you know what? The picture I've given it here. So you have small cards like this where you have a particular topic. Okay, the topic name is given to you. So pick up that card. It is like a random process. Okay, so pick up the card. Whatever topic is given there is written over there. Try to recollect as many points on that topic as you can. Fine. Then you turn over the card, and behind the card, the details are given. Okay, regarding that topic, whatever points needs to be revised, those things are written. That is how the flashcard is designed. So you turn the card after you have recollected all the points and see if you have match it with what is given. See if you have missed out any point or not. Okay? So this way you can design your own flashcards, or Biotecnika has his own sets of flashcards as well. Okay, so you can get it from somewhere. Next, teach someone. This is a very, very uh, nice method, and one of my favorite method is this, because you have to understand one thing. When you teach someone, that means what? You are explaining the topic to someone, right? You can only explain the topic to someone when the topic is very clear to you. If you have any doubt, you will not be able to explain. The moment the other person starts questioning you, you are testing your level of knowledge, your memory, your knowledge. So that very moment, you can go back, or you can at that point you can jot it down. Okay, whatever points you're not being able to recollect, that person is asking a question, jot it down. Later on, go back and revise these sections or look up these sections. Maybe you have not studied also that part, so study that part. This is a very, very good technique, okay, to teach, to explain, because that tells you how much you have understood and where you are lagging. Okay, it is like a self check. And definitely practice question. Practicing question is very, very important. Okay, the past exam papers, you solve the questions from the question banks. You solve the questions from the end of the chapters. I keep telling this to all the students to solve the back end questions. Every chapter has a back end questions. Okay, solve that. Even though they are not given in an MCQ format, still try to solve that question, because when you solve that question, it clears your concept. Okay, because concept clearing is very, very important. Analyzing a concept is important, not just studying it. Analyze it. Okay, so it need not be an MCQ, not always. Got my point? So that is solve practice questions, and then cover, recall, and check the method. So read any section. Okay, read it completely, don't keep it half done. If you're reading the checkpoints, read all the checkpoints together. Don't just study one checkpoint and leave the next checkpoint for the next day, not like that. Okay, read all the checkpoints together. So it has to be done together. Whatever topic you're selecting, read it together and then recall the key points. Okay, now the question is how to combine active recall with other study techniques. So we have mentioned many of these study techniques, like 50 30 20 rules. Then ma'am has mentioned the Pomodoro technique. Okay, spaced distribution. So how you can do it is, you can, like, when you are following the spaced repetition technique, okay, test yourself at increasing intervals. Okay, so maybe you have studied for 1 hour, okay, or say 2 hours you have studied a particular topic. All right, next you have gone to another topic and you're studying that topic for the 2 hours. Immediately after you finish this topic, you can recollect this topic as well as this topic. Fine. Next, in the evening, again, when you are studying, maybe you are studying, say this is, you have studied genetics and here you have studied, say, biochemistry, suppose. Okay, so after studying biochemistry, what you do is you recollect biochemistry, what you have studied, and also you recollect the genetics part. Okay, say in the evening again you are studying genetics and then you are studying biochemistry. So when you are sitting to study genetics, recollect what you have studied in the morning. Okay, both for genetics and biochemistry. Then you go into genetics. So first you recollect biochemistry, what you have studied, then you recollect genetics and you start studying for genetics. Got it? Next, what you do when you're finished with genetics, again you want to study biochemistry, recollect genetics first and then recollect biochemistry and then study the biochemistry. Okay, so you can test yourself at increasing intervals. So keep testing yourself for 5-10 minutes. Give 10 minutes, not it is not a huge time. Okay, 10 minutes is not that much. So recollect. You can combine with Pomodoro technique. Ma'am has already explained this part, so I'm not telling you again. That means 25 5. So 25 you are studying, 5 minutes you are taking a break. See, in that break, you can, just sit back and recollect. Okay. Or just take a break and then for the next 5 minutes, recollect. Fine. And then you can pair it with the 50-30-20 rule. Okay. So 50% time you are studying very serious things. And then when you are following the 20 rule, that is the time when you're revising. Okay. Or you can revise in the 30 also. So depending upon the topic that you have selected, okay, you can increase your revision or your recollection time. Fine. Now, taking notes is important, but here keeping keep in mind that the note taking should not turn into a book itself. Okay. So many people, what they do is they start writing everything in so details in the name of making notes, that ultimately before exam when they open their copy, it is almost equivalent to a textbook. There's no point in doing like that, because before the exam you won't be able to revise so many things, and that also keep it in mind. Okay. The best way is to use some flow charts, diagrams, which are quick to revise. I'll show you some examples in the next few slides. So, but here again, making your own note is very important. Don't take the note of your friend. Okay. Because when you are making the note, it improves the understanding and also helps you to organize the steps properly. All right. It creates personalized study material, so you will know that okay, where you have kept your notes, and like how to connect the notes from, as you already know that there are units which can be connected, right? Like how Urmi ma'am and Nupur ma'am have shown you. So make your note accordingly. Okay. Aids in active learning and critical thinking and reduces the last minute stress before exams. Now, what are the popular way of taking notes? Cornell method. Okay. That is structured with key points, main notes, and the summary. I'll come to this. Mind maps. Very, very nice way of representing the concepts. Okay. Mind map is what you write a concept. Okay. And over there you mention the key points. From this concept, maybe you go over to the next one. All right. Below that, you write the key points like this. So mind maps are very good representation and revision tool as well. Outline the method. Okay. So it can be in the form of hierarchical structure with bullet points. All right. Or it can be some kind of this, relationships where one is leading to other. Okay. The cycles that you have studied in your plant physiology, or it can be the flow charts and the diagrams. Okay. So there are many topics like you will get the topics from your cell cycle, cell signaling, then you have this immunology, you have diagrams from your uh, animal physiology. Okay. Where a lot of information is there given in the diagram itself. Your developmental biology. Okay. So just studying the diagram itself helps you to recollect the entire chapter. So as I told you, I'll give you some examples. So Cornell method, as I told you, what is that? It is just jotting down of the main points. Okay. So this is regarding the PCR. So instead of writing pages for the PCR, what you do is, what is the use, what is the limitation, what are the components needed. So primers, what is a primer, what does it do? Okay. How you have a forward primer, reverse primer. Sit back, think how you make the forward primer, how do you make the reverse primer. Think. Okay. DNTPs, why you are adding the DNTPs? Okay, which polymerases you are using, why you are using the Taq polymerase? Okay, what are the other variants of the Taq polymerases? what kind of buffer you're using, why you're using the buffer solutions, all right, why you need the magnesium ions, all right, what is the PCR, the steps, okay, what is this, what are the steps. So the entire PCR topic can be just broken down into few points, okay, just looking at the points we'll be able to recollect. Next, flow charts. So that same PCR, see, the next point what you can do is the process of the PCR, you can just make it into a flow chart. So the initial information you have kept it like this. Okay, this is not a flow chart, but this is just like jotting down the main points, right? In bullet formats. The next part, which is the process part, that you can turn it into a flow chart. So it is not compulsory, or it is not possible for each and every like to make a flowchart for each and every topic. So you have to mix and match the things. Okay. So just see, looking at the flowchart itself helps you to revise this entire topic. And if you just read the sentences, it will just take you 2 minutes to revise this part, not more than that. Okay. And the things are so prominent, the informations are so prominent over here that there is no chance of forgetting. It is there in front of you, in a highlighted manner. Okay, that helps to recollect again very easily. So you can make flowcharts for topics like signaling, instrumentation, cellular process, enzymatic reactions, and stuffs like this. Okay, topics like this. You can go for tables. Okay, so you start making the table. As you proceed, you can keep adding the information to this table. So again, you can use such tables for enzyme regulation, signaling pathways, drug uses. Then in replication transcription, like unit 3, there are these inhibitors of transcription, inhibitors of translation. Okay, so make a table of that as well. It helps you to revise very easily. So what are the best techniques for quick revision? Use of flashcards, summarize notes, as I have just shown you. Definitely practice the past test papers, because it not only helps you to solve the question within time, but also helps you to revise the topic, to recollect that topic. Okay. Use mnemonics and acronyms. So, Unit 11 has this topic of the paleontological age. Okay. And students finds it very difficult to memorize this paleontological age. So you can use the mnemonics like this. So you have the Cambrian, Orthovasian, Silurian, Devonian, Carboniferous, Permian, Triassic, Jurassic, and okay, so how you can write it as, how you can memorize it as, camels often sit down carefully, perhaps their joints creak. Okay, for Cretaceous. So camels, C, A for Cambrian, often, O for Orthovasian, sit, S for Silurian, D for Devonian, C for Carboniferous, P for Permian, H for Triassic, J for Jurassic, C for Cretaceous. So camels often sit down carefully, perhaps their joints creak. Okay, so this is your mnemonics. You can use these mnemonics for better recollection of these points. And as I said, teach someone. Okay, so practice question paper like, practice like you have never won. Play like you have never lost. That is the key rule. You have to keep practicing, you have to keep revising. Okay. Quick revisions are very, very important, because it reinforces the memory and retention, helps recall key concepts quickly before exam, prevents cramming and informed overload, and saves time by focusing only on important points. Now, as I'm constantly mentioning, solving previous year questions and mock tests are very, very important. Now, Do I mean just solve it? No, right? You have to solve it within time. Okay, this is very very important. You need to solve it within time. So if you have 3 hours, okay, try to solve it within 2.5 hours. Reduce your time. I know it's difficult, but reduce your time, because that will help you to, in faster analysis of the question. It will help you to practice in that way. Analyze the mistakes where you have made the mistake. Analyze it, go back, study that part again. Okay, so revise the weak areas using textbooks and notes. Attempt another test and track the progress. But here again, I would suggest, don't take the same test right after revision. Give a gap. Okay, if you have taken test number 1 today and you have found some gaps, you have revised this gap, you have studied it, don't just get back and give the test number 1 once again. Proceed with test number 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after the 5th test, go back and give the first test once again, because it is very easy to recollect what you have studied recently. Okay, keep that in mind. You have to focus on recollecting what you have studied 2 days back. That is where you have to master yourself. So what the common mistakes students do is they skip the analysis part. They solve without any time constraint. They do not revise the incorrect questions. Okay, and they also ignore the exam syllabus. Don't do like that. This is like you are wasting your time. Okay, so revise all the previous year's question mock test series. In fact, Biotecnika has its own MNet series, okay, which is there for you to practice. For those who have already enrolled with us, they know that we have the weekly test, we have the quest, all right. So we have a whole lot of things which Biotecnika can offer you. So we have the live classes which will help you to clear all your doubts. We have the chat support, 24/7 chat support, where like where you can post your doubts. So maybe when you're studying or solving the questions, you are coming across some portions which you have not understood, or some questions which you have not understood. You can post that in the study portal. Okay, our team members will be there, the teachers will be there to solve it for you. We provide study materials also. All right, we have the weekly test, monthly quest, and the previous year question papers. We have the mock test, we have the aim test. So there is a whole lot of question papers for you to practice. Okay, and that also within time. Next, comprehensive study materials are there for your revision purposes, and we have a whole lot of this Conceptica test series. Okay, I'll give you some glimpse of what we have, and very importantly, as I told you, you have the MNet series as well. So here is a short glimpse of the Conceptica series. So we have the Conceptica chart, flow chart book, okay, where the entire concept is given in flowchart, and some quick notes are also provided for quick recollection. We have the another kind of flowcharts where the entire chapter has been summarized, the key points has been mentioned. So before your exam, even if you study this little bit, it helps you to revise the entire chapter. Next, we have the concept clause, which acts like your flashcards. Okay, so we have some, some words are there. Some words are are bold. Some words are of smaller size. So the ones which are very bold, they are the very important ones. Okay, so all you have to what you have to do is just look at the this word and try to recollect what it means. All right, so that is your concept cards. For your revision purpose also, we have the concept wheel where all the important points has been summarized regarding a particular topic. You have the concept table where the comparative table. This is mainly the comparative table. So the informations are given in a comparison way so that you can recollect very easily. And then you have the mind maps. So as I was telling you, mind maps are very very important. They are very good way of recollecting a process, and as you can see here the enzymes are mentioned. Okay, enzyme classification has been done, and this mind map has all the informations that you need to revise uh, the enzyme chapter. Okay, now that was about how to revise, but remember, as ma'am has already mentioned, this is not a matter of just 1 day or 2 day. Okay, this is a matter of around 6 months minimum. So you have to be, very healthy, okay, to sustain this pressure, and you have to have a very, very positive mind. So always remember, the successful warrior is that average man with a laser like focus. You don't have to be a genius to clear your CSIR net. Not necessary. Anyone can clear the CSIR net, provided they are very focused, they are very organized, and they are following the right steps. Okay, definitely meditate, because this helps you to rejuvenate. This helps you to keep yourself very positive, and keeping yourself very positive is a very, very important thing. It helps you to improve your memory power also. Okay, it helps you to focus also. So exercising or doing yoga is a very good thing. So early in the morning when you wake up, please do some, at least allot 15 minutes for this thing. Okay, eat healthy. You have to keep strong, you have to keep healthy, and food also has a direct impact on your memory. Okay, so follow the balanced diet, and in the end the success will be yours. So with this, I will end the discussion. Thank you everyone for your time and attention, and wish you all the best for your preparation. Thank you.